People are always complaining, you got your Bill O'Reillys, etc. Everything's about race. Well, okay. Judge Olu Stevenson was suspended. He's a judge out of Kentucky. When he got into a battle with the local DA because he was attempting to obtain fairness for defendants in his court. They got into a Facebook battle. He was brought up before whatever the Judicial Review Board was. They supposedly made peace, but in the end, he got suspended for approximately 90 days because he wanted diversity on various juries, okay? Nothing should have been done because what he was doing was right, but he got suspended. Check this out.
It didn't just upset the country. Gosh, it caused international uproar. The Stanford swimmer Brock Turner that was given what many believed was way too lenient a sentence of 6 months after being convicted of sexually assaulting, ready for this, an unconscious woman, in case you forgot that trial. The commission investigating the judge found there's no clear evidence that the judge abused his authority or engaged in misconduct. Here's a question. Was Judge Aaron Persky too lenient? Remember, Brock Turner is a Stanford swimmer. He's a young white guy from Ohio. People were angry, very, very angry with what the verdict was here. What's your take, Michael?
This judge basically extended white privilege to this Stanford swimmer, giving him a slap on the wrist for rape. For rape. Pull this guy out of that, okay? Stick any black guy, any black athlete, okay, athlete out of Stanford, stick them in that same spot, okay, and they're doing 3 to 6 years in the pokey. This was the judge extending white privilege out to this swimmer. He gives him 6 months, of which he only has to do 3. Why? Because it's going to ruin his life. Totally disregarded the witness, the victim statement, okay, and the swimmer's father's bullshit statement about the fact that he doesn't eat steak anymore. Oh, please. But again, just another example of white privilege, both for the perpetrator of the crime here, white male, for the judge who basically was found to have acted within his authority, which obviously he did, but they still should have come down on him for issuing such a light sentence. But no, they didn't. But on the other hand, you get a black judge in Kentucky trying to do the right thing. He acted within his authority, and they never said that he didn't have the authority to dismiss juries that weren't more balanced. He gets 90-day suspension.
Oh, listen, how can you have a judge that no woman would ever, ever, ever want this kind of case tried in front of ever again? Go back and look at the victim's statement, a 12-page statement to Judge Persky, and then the father of Brock Turner, who said, "This
My son doesn't want to eat steak anymore. He's so sad."
Somewhere between 6 months and 6 years, there was a better sentence for this. This woman was unconscious. I'm the father of a teenage daughter. I might look at this a little differently. Does this mean his career is over as a judge? But again, you can't have a judge that can only hear some of the cases some of the time.
Yes, but what kind of precedent does it set, Josh, to you if the judge is punished? Well, what a sentence was.
Right, exactly. Yes, the sentence was too lenient. That doesn't mean that he engaged in misconduct. I mean, look, judges have discretion about sentencing for various good reasons, and sometimes that means that they will make bad decisions, and those decisions should be criticized, but it doesn't mean that they should be officially punished for using their discretion in a way that we would not have had them done, but that didn't violate the law. I think the reaction to this has led in some ways to a bad place, in that there's increased energy for new mandatory minimum rules around around sentences. I think in general we sentence people to prison too long in the United States. I don't think Brock Turner was sentenced for too long, but I think if this is another thing that has judges looking over their shoulders saying, I'd better hand down a really long sentence because otherwise there will be a national media uproar around me, I think that will tend in general to lead to less just sentences rather than...
But this was a hideous decision.
It was a very...
All right, and absolutely, but there's a difference if you're driving a car and the light's green and all of a sudden it hits yellow before you hit that limit line. You hit that limit line just as it's going from yellow to red, okay, and continue across. Yeah, you violated the law, okay, but, you know, just barely. Because if you're over that limit line while that light is still yellow, okay, you have the right in order to proceed through that intersection and on your merry way. In this particular case, this judge basically drove this sentence through a red stop sign, a red light, red everywhere, by giving this guy a 6-month sentence. This was white privilege at its finest. This guy got every break in the world and then some. Just ridiculous. And Mr. Barros is right. There is sentencing that is too long for crimes that are committed. Unfortunately for us, most of those too long sentences are handed out to black people in this country.